been a little while. There's been a lot going on. I was out of town and everything that's happened, y'all know. Just been a lot going on. But tips for a GLP-1 journey. Number 5. Number 5 is focus on protein. Now that sounds like a pretty easy task, but it can be daunting in the beginning, especially if you're not used to eating, if you're not used to like meal planning around protein. If you're like me, before I started on a GLP-1, most of the time my meals consisted of like pasta, carbs, and then I would have protein sprinkled in there, vegetation sprinkled in there, but my focus was never protein. And this kind of goes back to, I think it was the last one that I did, was tracking things. That was one of the biggest reasons that I started tracking, was to keep track of my protein, because I was not used to focusing on that. Having said that, there are some easier ways to up your protein without changing a whole lot right in the beginning. I use protein shakes. Now, that's kind of controversial. Some people are like, don't do it. If that's what you need to get your number up there, then get your number up there. I used them quite a bit in the beginning, I'm going to be honest, because I wasn't hungry. And it was easy for me to down a protein shake. I still use them, but it's a little bit different. I've learned how to focus on, like, my meals are primarily protein now. But I still do a protein shake. I do a protein coffee every single day. But some easy ways to up your protein, especially snacky foods. Cottage cheese is a big one. There's a lot of different things you can do with cottage cheese, and you can like Google that. There's like a whole slew. Like, who knew there were so many things to do with cottage cheese, even if you don't like it. Me, I don't really like it by itself. I'll eat it. I do enjoy it with fruit. I've always liked it with fruit, but I don't really like to just, it's more of a sweet treat for me than a savory treat. So I have it with fruit, but I also implement it into my meals. I sub it for sour cream. I put it in my chili. I made taco soup last night, and I put a layer of cottage cheese in my bowl before I put the soup in. It gives you like that creaminess that sour cream does. And you can even blend it up if it's a textural thing. You can blend it up, but cottage cheese is a big one. Another thing that helped me was eggs, boiled eggs. I could pretty much eat a boiled egg at any time. Even if I'm not hungry, I can eat a boiled egg. And so that became one of my main snacks in the beginning. Like, if I was wanting something salty, I would grab a boiled egg. Some other snacky things that you may not think about, beef sticks or turkey sticks, like the Slim Jim type things. I get the Aldi brand. Those are great. Sub out your chips for protein chips. They make various different kinds of protein chips now. When I first started, there wasn't a lot out there available, but as things have gone along, there's a lot more options for that. Pork rinds, that's another good one. Pork rinds, you don't really think about those, but those have protein in them. Bone broths have protein. They're not like super packed with protein, but if you're having trouble getting your protein in, every little bit counts. And if you're not super hungry, get you some bone broth. Drink some bone broth. You're going to get some protein in there. And you can't just use like stock. You need the actual bone broth. That's going to give you your highest amount of protein. Also, tuna. Tuna is the big one. Some people love tuna, some people hate tuna, but that's a huge way to get a lot of protein. One can of tuna has like 28 grams of protein. I learned how to make tuna salad, and it's like I put all kinds of stuff in there, and I use cottage cheese in my tuna salad, so that ups the protein even more. So just try to focus on your protein, and when you're meal planning, make sure that you have a good amount of protein as your main focus, and then build around that for like sides and stuff. Protein's important because you don't want to lose muscle, and the best way to not lose muscle is to keep your protein level up. Anywho, I've been on a GLP-1 in a month, it's going to be 3 years, which is crazy. That's just, I can't believe it. And I currently get mine from Ample. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out.